I'm super excited for this video because it is a Blind Anticipates video, and it is the sequel to Castles in Their Bones, one of my favorite series, or one of my favorite books I read so far this year, by Sebastian. And we finally have a description for that second book. I've been checking Goodreads as often as I could until I get a description for the second book. So we're going to talk about the description, and we're going to talk about my predictions as best as I can. So if you have not yet watched my Castles in Their Bones video or my review, I'll put in the playlist for Castles in Their Bones. I do have the playlist for that. I'll put it in the description. I'll also put in my Sebastian playlist, so you can see that. Also, my Blind Anticipates, so you can see those too. So let's begin with the reaction description. Immerse yourself in the second book in a fantasy trilogy from the New York Times best-selling author of the Ash Princess series. By the way, Ash Princess is another one I actually really enjoyed. Recommend completely. The sequel to Castles in Their Bones is the story of three princesses in the destiny they were born for: seduction, conquest, and the crown. So for anyone who doesn't remember, basically these princesses were taught, the Castles in Their Bones is about these three sisters who were taught how to lie, and they have a plan from their mother to basically get married to these royals, and they will then they have each different separate missions, and they have to basically take over the kingdom in order for the empress to basically take over the continent. And they now have to do all that stuff. But each princess though has a harder task, and they also have a different, and they also they each have different skill, and they also have like a different relationship with Empress Margaret. And it's very interesting to see that. It's also the first time I've seen her write like in third person. I still like her first person better, but I think her third person is actually quite good. So it's really interesting to read. So definitely read it if you haven't yet. I will be reading it next year again when this one comes out. So Princesses Beatrice and Daphne have lost their older sister. So by the way, I actually did not know that Sophie or Sophronia was the older sister. I actually had assumed she was the youngest, and it seems to be kind of confirmed that she died, but I actually wonder if there will be a twist where she's actually alive. Because we already can see that Beatrice, yes, it's Beatrice. Beatrice has like powers on the star. She has like star powers, and she's able to actually do magic like the Emperor. So I am super curious to see how that will also factor in. But also, because we kind of just got caught off, and she was going to be executed, and that's how she ended up getting to the kingdom of Timurin. And I am actually very curious to see how that happens now, because she helped Leopold escape, and she made a wish so that he escapes and is gone, right? So she helped Leopold escape and ended up sacrificing her own life. So I want to see the repercussions of that. And also, it would be very hilarious if it would actually be very hilarious if she really wasn't dead, and if they were not able to execute her for one reason or another. But there seems to be a confirmation that she's dead, so I'm gonna go off the fact that she's dead. And Sophie was such a good character too, though. But their mother's grand scheme of taking the continent of Visteria is far from complete. And that's right, because by the end of the book, it was pretty much said that those girls who said they're going to see each other in a year are going to die, and they have to die so that she takes the continent. The girls were basically primed to die, according to the ending. Oh, and by the way, I forgot to say spoilers, but I think you guys already know because when I do these things, I just spoil. With the country of Temerine now under the Empress's control, only the nations of Celeria and Freve remain free from her rule. So Freve is with it has Daphne, who has a shaky rebellion alliance. Hold on, guys. A shaky alliance with the rebels, and in Celeria, Beatrice is basically got sent to like Beatrice and I forgot the dude's name. I'm sorry. He had very little things in there. Is basically she has been sent to some form of monastery, almost like a nun or something as a punishment. I can't remember what it was. They both got sent to these different places. One's for women, one's for men, and she and stuff like that. And it's being run by these two cousins. So, but the thing is that the Empress kind of knows this. The Empress kept information from them. So I'm thinking that in this book, all the information that they don't know is going to be exposed here. And I am looking forward to that. What's worse, an ominous prophecy has begun to shine through the constellations, the blood of stars and majesty spilled. So there is mention, if I remember correctly, of a prophecy that the Emperor basically promised her 3 kingdoms, and the 3 dead daughters meant that she would get, the kingdoms that she wanted. So, that sounds about right. Usurped by conniving cousins Nico and Gigi. I forgot this dude. Beatrice fears for her life, while in icy Freve, Daphne continues her shaky alliance with the rebels, even as she struggles to stay a step ahead of them. So Daphne seems to still have some belief in her mother. Her mother specifically said that she would be like the heir, but not to tell. Says not to tell basically Beatrice and Sophie. So she seems to still kind of have some belief that everything will be that her mother has a good plan, even though these things are happening. And Beatrice pretty much has a right to fear for her life, as Margot pretty much knows how they think. And it seems like Beatrice is supposed to be the next to die. Now, I predict that Beatrice might actually die at the end of this book, but that Daphne at the end might be the one to stop the conquests at the cost of her sisters, of course. So, yeah, that's something to consider right there. But when an unlikely ally offers Beatrice a deal, she finds herself back in her mother's sights. So, the thing with this ally, I have 2 predictions for this. Either he really is an ally, like he actually genuinely is someone who actually means good, or he's working for her mother and is pretending to be an ally, like Viley. I think that's her name. I think her name is Viley, who Daphne took in who Sophie took in as a handmaid or handmaiden or lady's maid or whatever into her household after and she took her away from the I think Duchess Bruna or whatever. So after she's probably like, she might be, the ally might be like Viley, who the Empress promised something to, or they might actually be a real ally and might actually pose a threat to Empress Margaret. So those are like the two main things. But I am leaning toward the one where the ally is actually working for Empress Margaret and is pretending to be an ally. That's where I'm leaning to. With enemies around every corner and the stars whispering of betrayal, Daphne and Beatrice can't trust anyone, least of all each other. Right, because Daphne is more into what her mother says, so believes more about her mom, so it's unlikely they'll end up trusting each other. Beatrice might try to get Daphne to help her, which is one of the things that she tried to do by the end of it, so I think that's something that could happen. If they've learned anything, though, it's that the Empress's game is constantly changing. And because Daphne was trained by the Empress, it's very possible she could predict her movements at some point. That sounds exciting. And the arrival of surprise visitors from Temerine just might tip the scales in the princess's favor. Ooh, exciting! Who are the surprise visitors? Now, this is what got me thinking about the possibility of Sophie not being dead. And this is what got me thinking about the possibility, or that Leopold at least was able to get back maybe to them. But I am thinking, to me, this is what gave me the possibility that Sophie may not be dead. But then again, Laura Sebastian has killed a main character before. Spoilers for Ember Queen in 3, 2, or for Ash Princess in 3, 2, 1. Since the very beginning, Blaze was set up to die. The first time I read that book, I read like Ash Princess and Lady Smoke, or like the first and second time actually, because I reread it before Ember Queen came out. And I predicted that Blaze was going to die. And I was right. Blaze died. But the thing is that since the very beginning, he was being set up to die. Kind of like if you read the series, I think it's called Three Dark Crowns. One of the people set up to die is, I think her name is Mirabella. She was set up to die. She definitely was set up to die. And she did die. It's the same thing with this dude. Like, they're just set up to die. And it's kind of obvious. So it's possible that Daphne is dead. But the problem is that I feel like it's possible that although Sophie might be dead, it's possible that she's also alive. And it's possible that one of the sisters at the end will die, and it may not be Sophie, and it could be someone like Beatrice who is already getting power. Because so far, there hasn't been anything that suggests that the other sisters have power. Now, in Ash Princess, all of them had some type of power. But the problem is that Blaze's was the strongest. So it seemed she might follow this trajectory. But it also says here, if they manage to avoid meeting their sister's fate before they can make their next move. Which is a bit contradictory to me. Is she dead or alive? I don't know, but I can't wait to find out. Now, the one thing I do predict is that there might be more exploration on the what's that called? Oh, on the magic system. I think there will be more exploration regarding the magic system and if the sisters have magic or not. Like, that's my big thing. But those are my thoughts based on seeing this plot. I feel like there's going to be a good book, and that there is going to be some conflict between the sisters, but there also will be some conflicts with the sisters and Margaret. And I'm pretty excited to see what will happen. And I want to know who are the visitors from Temerine. That is like the big thing I need to know. So Yeah. So this book is expected to come out February 7th of 2023. I have not checked if it's available for pre-order, but I definitely will be pre-ordering this book. I cannot wait. I will be rereading Castles in Their Bones February next year. Definitely. So I'm pretty excited. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Until my next video, consume stories. Bye.